Have you ever felt it? That strange shiver before something happened, as if your body already knew the future. They told you it was just a coincidence. They lied. There is a hidden force inside you, an invisible field that shapes your thoughts, your health, your destiny. You cannot touch it, but it touches everything you love, everything you fear, everything you are. For centuries, priests called it the soul. Mystics called it the aura. Scientists whispered of electromagnetic fields, but the truth is far more dangerous. Energy is not outside of you. Energy is you. And if you learn to control it, reality itself begins to bend. Tonight, we enter the forbidden archive of human existence. We will peel back layers of history, science, and ancient secrets to uncover the invisible power you've been carrying all along, but never dared to use. This is not philosophy. This is not religion. This is the investigation of the force that has always been with you, the magic hidden in plain sight. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt something was wrong, even before a single word was spoken? Perhaps it was the heavy silence after an argument, the unspoken tension pressing against your skin. Or maybe you've had that sudden intuition on, urge to call someone, only to discover they needed you in that exact moment. Most people dismiss these experiences as coincidence or imagination. But what if they're the fingerprints of something far greater? Something hidden, something we all carry, yet barely understand. This is not a fantasy. This is your energy field, what ancient traditions called the aura. Imagine it as a luminous cocoon, a magnetic halo that extends beyond the surface of your skin, weaving invisibly into the space around you. You may think you are living only in your physical body, but the truth is far more unsettling. You are living in a cloud of energy, and that cloud is the secret map of your destiny. For centuries, mystics described this aura in sacred texts. In the Vedas of India, it was the prana, the life force that animates all beings. Early Christian mystics spoke of the divine light that radiates from the faithful, depicted in medieval art as glowing halos around the heads of saints. Even in Chinese philosophy, the flow of qi was said to determine health, fortune, and fate. Strangely, these traditions, separated by oceans and cultures, describe the same phenomenon: a field of energy extending beyond the body, shaping every experience of human life. Modern science, long thought to dismiss such ideas, has begun to acknowledge it. Every heartbeat generates an electromagnetic wave detectable several feet away from your chest. Brain activity, too, creates fields measurable beyond the skull. And if electricity defines the beating of your heart and the firing of your neurons, then your body is not a closed machine. It is a broadcasting tower. You are transmitting all the time, whether you realize it or not. When you feel joy, your laughter doesn't just vibrate in your throat, radiates into the room. When you harbor anger, the air itself feels heavy. These are not just poetic metaphors. They are subtle vibrations of your energy field. Other people can sense them, even without understanding why. And this explains the invisible language we all know. Why some people immediately draw us closer, while others repel us, even without speaking a word. Yet most of us move through life blind to this field, ignoring the signals it sends and the power it holds. We treat ourselves as purely physical flesh, bone, muscle, forgetting that everything physical is already energy, vibrating at a slower speed. The body is matter, yes, but matter is condensed energy, and around that dense core is a living, breathing field, shifting with every thought, every breath, every memory you carry. Picture your energy field as a vast ocean. When calm, it reflects light, inviting peace and clarity. But when storms raid stress, fear, unresolved trauma, the water churns, creating waves that distort everything you perceive. This is why the same world looks different to different people. It's not the world that changes, it's the field through which you are looking. Your aura is not just a reflection of who you are. It is an active participant in the story of your life. It is constantly shaping events, attracting certain people, repelling others, guiding opportunities toward you or away from you. Every belief you hold, every emotion you suppress or release, writes itself into this invisible cloud, and those imprints become the architecture of your reality. That is why intuition exists. It is not a supernatural gift for the chosen few. It is your body reading the vibrations of the field around you. A shiver down the spine, a sudden chill, a warmth in the chest. These are your senses extending beyond the skin, detecting shifts in the energy that science has only begun to measure. You have never lived solely as a physical being. From the first breath you took, you have existed inside this shimmering ocean of frequencies. It records your pain, it magnifies your joy, it whispers warnings, and it offers guidance. It is the silent witness of your life and the invisible architect of your future. So, the question is not whether this energy field exists, it does. The real question is, are you aware of it? Or are you sleepwalking through its currents? Most people remain trapped, unconscious of the forces they carry. But those who awaken to it discover something extraordinary. When you learn to sense it, when you choose to direct it, you are no longer just reacting to life, you are sculpting it. And this is where the journey begins. Because if energy is the hidden map of destiny, then understanding it is the first step toward rewriting your fate. What would change if you realized that the greatest force in your life was not outside of you, but flowing invisibly around you, waiting to be discovered? Stay with me, because in the next chapter, we will go deeper. We will open the 7 hidden layers of this field, and each layer reveals a secret about who you are and who you are becoming. If the energy field is the ocean you live in, then within this ocean lie 7 distinct currents, 7 hidden layers that shape everything you feel, think, and become. Ancient traditions called them the 7 chakras, but do not be misled by the word. These are not abstract symbols or religious metaphors. They are gateways, real, living doors that connect the invisible field to the tangible body. To walk through them is to walk through the architecture of the human soul. Imagine a figure standing in darkness. Suddenly, a light appears at the base of the spine. It is red, heavy, pulsing with primal force. This is the first layer, the etheric body, aligned with the root chakra. It governs survival, your physical strength, your connection to the earth beneath your feet, your sense of safety. When balanced, it gives vitality and groundedness. When blocked, it manifests as chronic fatigue, fear, and instability in life. Here is your foundation, the first gate to the unseen. Step forward, and another light shimmers, orange and fluid, swirling just below the navel. This is the emotional body, linked to the sacral. It governs feelings, desires, intimacy, and creativity. It is the layer where love and lust, passion and pain, all ripple like waves across the surface of water. When it flows freely, you experience joy, pleasure, and healthy relationships. But when damaged, it becomes a reservoir of guilt, repression, and unfulfilled longing. The second gate reminds you that emotions are not shadows to be feared. They are energy in motion, shaping your reality. Now, a golden light blazes at the solar plexus. This is the mental body, aligned with the solar plexus. Here lies your willpower, your beliefs, your sense of control. This layer is like a forge, where thoughts become commands, written into your energy field. A balanced mental body radiates confidence and clarity, but when clouded, it breeds anxiety, self-doubt, and the suffocating weight of negative beliefs. The third gate is proof that thought is not silent. Every idea leaves an imprint in your aura. Move upward, and a burst of green blossoms from the chest. This is the astral body, connected to the heart. It is the bridge between the physical and the spiritual, the place where love, compassion, and empathy flow. Mystics across cultures called it the seat of the soul. When open, it creates deep bonds, forgiveness, and authentic connection. But when wounded, it breeds jealousy, heartbreak, and isolation. The fourth gate shows us that relationships are not merely psychological, they are energetic exchanges written into the field itself. Stepped deeper, and a brilliant blue radiates from the throat. This is the etheric template body, aligned with the throat chakra. It governs communication, truth, and expression of your unique voice. This layer is like a blueprint, carrying the pattern of your individuality. When clear, your words flow with power, and your actions align with integrity. When blocked, you feel voiceless, misunderstood, or silenced by fear. The fifth gate reminds us that identity is not only who you are, it is the frequency you broadcast into the world. Above the brow, a violet indigo light flares. This is the celestial body, aligned with the third eye chakra. Here resides intuition, imagination, and higher vision. It is the lens through which you perceive meaning beyond the surface. When awakened, it offers clarity, foresight, and insight into patterns unseen. But when clouded, it becomes confusion, illusion, and disconnection from your inner compass. The sixth gate whispers that the truth of reality cannot always be touched by the senses, it must be seen with the inner eye. Finally, the figure is crowned with a radiant white flame, vast and expansive. This is the causal body, aligned with the crown. It connects you to the transcendent, the dimension beyond individuality, the memory of the soul's journey through lifetimes. When open, it brings a sense of unity, peace, and divine purpose. When closed, it manifests as despair, nihilism, or the crushing feeling of separation. The seventh and final gate is the reminder that you are not only human, you are infinite. 7 layers, 7 doors, 7 mirrors of existence. Together, they create the tapestry of your aura, a living archive of your health, emotions, thoughts, relationships, identity, intuition, and spirit. This is not myth. These layers leave traces that doctors, psychologists, and even scientists are beginning to notice. Stress in the emotional body leads to physical illness. In the trauma in the heart echoes in the mind. A lie told too often becomes a sickness in the throat. Each layer leaves fingerprints on your daily life, whether you see it or not. This system is not philosophy alone. It is not a relic of ancient mysticism. It is measurable in your experiences, written in your body, and echoed in your relationships. If your aura is fractured, your life fractures with it. If it shines, your life expands. Which doors in your field are open, and which have been locked for years? If you could step through all 7, aligning body, heart, mind, and soul, what kind of life would unfold? Do not answer yet, because in the next chapter, we will confront the darker truth. What happens when these gates are not open at all, but blocked, tangled, and bound? And the consequences are far more real than you might think. Picture a river flowing freely through a valley, its water sparkling, nourishing everything it touches. Birds gather at its banks. Trees grow tall and lush. The air hums with life. But now imagine boulders crashing down into the current. Immovable rocks that split the river, choke its flow, and leave entire fields dry. The once living water turns stagnant, and the valley withers. This is not just a metaphor. This is what happens to your energy field when it is blocked. Stress, unresolved trauma, suppressed emotions there. The boulders, they lodge themselves into your aura and cut off the vital currents that should be moving freely through your body and mind. We live in a culture that praises when exhaustion creeps in, we blame the workload. When sadness lingers, we call it weakness. When our body aches, we assume it's age. But here is the unsettling truth. You are not tired because of work. You are tired because your energy has been damned. Each unresolved memory, each unspoken word, each hidden wound leaves a scar in the field. Imagine a person who carries years of silent grief. Outwardly, they smile, but inwardly, their emotional body is clogged with silt, slowing every movement of energy. Or think of the relentless thinker whose mind races endlessly with fear and worry. Their mental body vibrates with such static that no clarity can pass through. These blockages do not stay invisible. They echo into the physical layer, manifesting as illness, fatigue, or chronic pain. Science now whispers the same story. Studies on stress revealed that unprocessed emotions alter hormone levels, weaken immunity, and even change brain chemistry. Trauma survivors often carry physical ailments without clear medical cause: migraines, digestive problems, persistent tension. Doctors call it psychosomatic. But what if that word is just a modern way of describing energetic congestion? The river cannot flow, and so the body drowns in its own still water. The consequences are not only physical. When the heart chakra is blocked, love becomes distorted. Trust feels dangerous. Vulnerability unbearable. When the throat chakra is silenced, your voice becomes a prisoner, and self-expression dies. A blocked third eye leads to confusion, leaving you unable to trust your own intuition. Life feels like walking through fog, each step heavy, every horizon uncertain. And this is why people often feel stuck. They believe they lack opportunities. They think the universe has abandoned them. But in truth, the universe is responding faithfully to the energy they radiate. If your field is tangled with fear, you attract fear. If it is filled with resentment, you meet more reasons to resent. You are not cursed. You are simply living in a self-made dam, and the current cannot pass through. Consider how many times you've felt the weight of exhaustion, even after a full night's sleep. That is not mere physical tiredness. Is the fatigue of stagnant energy, or those days when nothing seems to go right, when accidents pile up and conversations turn sour. That is not bad luck. It is resonance with the blockages in your field. Your outer world mirrors your inner congestion. Now, here comes the most dangerous part. Blockages spread like rotten wood. A single wound ignored can infect the whole structure. A suppressed childhood trauma left unhealed might twist into lifelong distrust. Years of constant stress at work may harden into chronic illness. A blocked sacral chakra can strangle creativity, leaving you numb, uninspired, and convinced that life has lost its color. Energy that should have been flowing toward growth becomes trapped, spinning in cycles of repetition. You think you are exhausted because of your job, but the truth is this: you are depleted because your river of energy has been dammed, suffocated by wounds you never allowed to heal. This realization is unsettling because it shifts the responsibility back onto us. We can no longer blame only the outside world. The battlefield is within, but hidden within this truth is also liberation. Because if energy can be blocked, it can also be freed. If the river can be dammed, it can also be unblocked, restored to flow. What stones lie in your river? Which unresolved arguments, buried fears, or silenced emotions are still holding back your current? The body remembers everything, even when the mind pretends to forget. That ache in your chest, that tightness in your throat, that knot in your stomach, these are signals, alarms ringing from the invisible layers of your aura. But do not despair. Blockages are not permanent prisons. They are challenges, invitations to awaken. Ancient traditions from India to China, from Egypt to Greece, taught that energy can be cleared, redirected, and brought back into balance. Modern neuroscience confirms it. Meditation, breath work, and even conscious awareness alter brain states and release trapped energy patterns. The key lies not in running away from the dam, but in facing it, stone by stone, and dismantling the weight. And this brings us to the next stage of our journey, because knowing that blockages exist is only half the story. The greater mystery lies in the tools humanity has carried for thousands of years. Tools that were designed not just to heal, but to unlock the full flow of the river within you. In the next chapter, we will open those ancient doors, the forgotten practices of breath, silence, and movement that can break apart the stones and set the current free once more. If blockages are the stones in your river, then rituals are the tools that break them apart. Across centuries, scattered across continents, humanity discovered practices that do not simply calm the mind but directly unlock the flow of energy. These were not random traditions. They were precise technologies of the spirit, born from observation, discipline, and devotion. Let us step back in time. Imagine ancient India, where sages withdrew into forests, closing their eyes not to escape the world but to study it from within. They sat 4 hours in stillness, practicing dhyana, what we now call meditation. In their silence, they mapped the subtle layers of the self and found that by directing attention inward, the knots of suffering slowly dissolved. This was not mere mysticism. It was a system for unblocking energy, practiced for thousands of years. Now, shift your gaze to China, where masters of Tai Chi moved slowly beneath the morning sky. Their bodies traced circles and spirals, flowing like rivers to the untrained eye. It looked like dance, but within, they were aligning breath, intention, and movement, restoring balance to the vital force known as Qi. These graceful forms were medicine for the aura, keeping energy currents fluid, preventing stagnation, and cultivating longevity. In temples of Tibet, monks practiced pranayama, the science of breath. They believed that breath was not only air, but the very carrier of life force. By lengthening the inhale, pausing in stillness, and extending the exhale, they learned to control the invisible tide of energy within them. Modern physiology now confirms that such breathing patterns activate the parasympathetic nervous system, lowering stress hormones, calming the heart, and even altering brain waves. The echoes of these practices spread far beyond Asia. Early Christian mystics wrote of Hesi, a discipline of silence and repetitive prayer designed to bring the heart into resonance with the divine. Indigenous peoples across the Americas used drumming, chanting, and trance dances not as entertainment, but as methods of release, clearing emotional burdens through rhythm and vibration. Everywhere we look, the message repeats. Humanity has always sought ways to free the river of energy. Modern science, armed with machines and data, is only now confirming what ancient civilizations already knew. Brain scans of monks in deep meditation show increased activity in regions tied to empathy and compassion. Studies on yoga reveal improved flexibility not just of the body but of the nervous system, lowering blood pressure and boosting immune response. Research on Tai Chi documents measurable reductions in anxiety and significant improvements in balance and strength, especially in the elderly. But the most remarkable finding comes from the study of breath itself. Experiments in neuroscience demonstrate that slow, rhythmic breathing synchronizes the activity of the brain and the heart. This synchronization creates coherence, a state where the body, mind, and energy field hum in harmony. And coherence is precisely what the ancients described. A life force flowing without obstruction, lighting every corner of existence. The rituals once dismissed as superstition now stand as bridges between worlds, the mystical and the measurable. When you sit in silence, when you stretch in yoga, when you breathe consciously, you are not just relaxing. You are dismantling dams, releasing currents, repairing your field. You are tuning your invisible instrument back into resonance with life itself. Therapeutic. They are transformative. Meditation does not just calm the storm, it opens doors to higher awareness. Yoga does not only stretch muscles, it unites body and spirit in one flow. Tai Chi does not only teach balance, it teaches surrender, patience, and the art of moving with the universe instead of against it. Breathwork does not only oxygenate the body, it reveals the simple truth that each inhale is life entering. Each exhale is letting go of death. What ancient civilizations called sacred rituals, modern science now calls evidence-based practices. The two languages are describing the same reality. If these rituals were powerful enough to endure millennia, might they be the very keys you have been ignoring? How many of your struggles are not the fault of circumstance, but the weight of blocked energy you never learned to release? And what could shift in your life if you adopted even a fragment of these forgotten knots? You do not need to move into a monastery or devote your life to seclusion. A few minutes of mindful breath each day, a short yoga sequence, a quiet pause in meditation, a gentle Tai Chi form under the open skythes are enough to begin unblocking the river. With each practice, you chip away at the stones. With each ritual, the water flows freer. But we are not done yet, because while rituals open the gates, the question remains. Why do they work? Why does breath alter the nervous system? Why does meditation change the brain? Why does movement in harmony with intention affect the body's energy? To answer that, we must dive into the frontier where spirituality and science meet, and where researchers are beginning to uncover the electromagnetic mysteries of the human field itself. In the next chapter, we will see how laboratories and experiments are finally confirming what sages and shamans declared long ago. The invisible is becoming visible. For centuries, practices like Reiki, acupuncture, and energy healing were dismissed as superstition, the relics of a world unwilling to face the light of reason. Doctors scoffed, scientists rolled their eyes, and skeptics called them nothing more than placebo, wrapped in ritual. But something remarkable is happening. Quietly, cautiously. The same world that once ridiculed these practices is beginning to admit there may be truth in them after all. Let us begin with Reiki, the Japanese art of channeling life force energy through the palms. In the West, it was long dismissed as fantasy. Yet hospitals today are hiring Reiki practitioners, integrating them into cancer wards, palliative care, and post-surgical recovery. Why? Because patient after patient reports reduced pain, deeper relaxation, faster healing, and clinical studies, though still debated, are showing measurable drops in heart rate, blood pressure, and stress hormones. What was once the domain of mystics is now entering the vocabulary of modern healthcare. Now consider acupuncture, the ancient Chinese practice of inserting fine needles into meridians of the body. For centuries, it was mocked in the West, condemned as primitive. Yet today, the World Health Organization lists dozens of conditions acupuncture can effectively treat, from chronic pain and migraines to nausea and anxiety. Research shows that stimulating specific points on the skin sends signals through nerves, releasing endorphins, calming inflammation, and altering brain chemistry. In other words, the ancient map of meridians may correspond to hidden networks science is only now learning to trace. But the most provocative evidence does not come from needles or handset, comes from the brain itself. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, produces an electrical signal. Billions of neurons fire, generating currents. These currents create electromagnetic fields that extend beyond the skull. Sensitive instruments can detect them, measure them, even map them. You are not just thinking inside your head, you are broadcasting. And here, the line between mysticism and science blurs. What sages once called the aura, neuroscientists now call the brain's electromagnetic field. What mystics described as resonance between souls, physicists describe as wave interference between overlapping fields. Different languages, the same phenomena. Investigators in neurobiology have begun to wonder, could consciousness itself da? Mysterious spark we call awareness be more than chemistry? Could it be an emergent property of the electromagnetic field? British scientist John Joe McFadden proposed this exact theory, that the brain's M field is not just a byproduct of thought, but the very seat of consciousness. If so, then energy is not only capable of healing, energy is the foundation of who we are. If your awareness arises not only from the wet tissue of the brain, but from the invisible field it generates, then every shift in that field, every blockage cleared, every vibration raised changes not just your mood, but the core of your identity. Healing becomes more than physical repair. It becomes transformation at the level of consciousness itself. What was once condemned as pseudoscience may hold the key to the next revolution in medicine and philosophy. The placebo effect, long dismissed as a nuisance, now appears as proof that belief on invisible force changes biology. Studies in quantum biology reveal that living cells may communicate through electromagnetic resonance. HeartMath Institute research shows that emotions measured in the heart produce fields detectable several feet away, influencing others nearby. If energy fields extend beyond our bodies, then healing may not be limited to the self. One person's coherence could influence another's chaos. A calm field could soothe an anxious child. A loving field could soften hostility in a room. The aura is not a private bubble. It is a living interface, constantly interacting with the environment. If your consciousness is truly the brain's electromagnetic field, then energy is not just a tool for healing. It is the very foundation of awareness. This means that every practice, acupuncture, meditation, breathwork may not be working by superstition, but by shifting the field of consciousness itself. How much of your life have you spent believing you are only a machine of flesh and bone? And how different would your world look if you realized you are, in fact, a luminous field of frequencies, shaping and shaped by everything around you? The investigation does not end here. If energy is consciousness, then thought itself becomes a force, and emotion becomes a frequency. In the next chapter, we will dive into the law that both mystics and scientists are beginning to describe, the law of vibration. Because if your field is broadcasting all the time, then the question is unavoidable. What exactly are you broadcasting into the universe? Imagine two instruments resting silently in a dimly lit room. One is a violin, the other a guitar. A musician draws a bow across the violin's string, and suddenly, without a hand touching it, a string on the guitar begins to tremble. Why? Because the vibration of one resonated with the frequency of the other. This is not magic, it is resonance. And resonance is the hidden law that governs not only music, but reality itself. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, is a vibration. It may not hum like a string or ring like a bell, but it sends waves into your energy field and beyond. The ancients said it plainly. Like attracts like. Modern science describes it as wave coherence. Two fields vibrating at similar frequencies naturally draw each other into harmony. Positive emotions, love, joy, gratitude, create high-frequency vibrations. These states expand your aura, radiating brightness and drawing in experiences of similar quality. Negative emotion sphere, anger, despair generate low-frequency vibrations, compressing the field, attracting situations that mirror the darkness within. You are not merely living in the world. You are broadcasting into it, constantly shaping what comes back to you. When you wake up feeling hopeful, the day often unfolds with unexpected ease. Doors seem to open, conversations flow, opportunities appear. But when you wake heavy with dread, the world itself seems hostile. Traffic snarls, people irritate you, and even small tasks feel impossible. Did the world change overnight? No. What changed was the frequency you were tuned to. You did not simply perceive a different world who attracted it. This is the essence of the law of attraction, a principle ridiculed by skeptics, yet echoed in both ancient mysticism and emerging science. It tells us that your energy is not passive. It is magnetic. It pulls toward you the people, circumstances, and events that resonate with your inner vibration. You are, in effect, a living broadcast tower. The universe is not ignoring you. It is listening to your signal. Energy flows where attention goes. You are the broadcasting tower, shaping your own reality. But let's be clear, this is not wishful thinking or blind optimism. It does not mean that you can sit idle, think of riches, and expect gold to fall from the sky. The law of attraction works because your vibration alters the field around you, and the field changes how you act, how you perceive, and how the world responds. Gratitude makes you more open to opportunities. Anger blinds you to them. Fear keeps you stuck. Courage invites possibility. The external world bends, not because of magic tricks, but because energy interacts with energy. Even physics supports the metaphor. In quantum mechanics, particles behave differently when observed. The act of attention itself alters outcomes. If the microcosm responds to observation, why would the macrocosm our lives be any different? The energy of attention is not neutral. It shapes, it directs, it amplifies. The ancients understood this long before laboratories existed. In Hinduism, mantras were not merely chants, they were vibrational codes, meant to tune consciousness to higher states. In Christian mysticism, prayer was not begging for miracles, but aligning the soul with divine frequency. In Sufi whirling dances, the body itself became an antenna, spinning into resonance with the cosmos. All pointed to the same truth. Change your vibration, and reality must respond. If your energy field is constantly broadcasting, then every private thought is not so private. Every silent emotion is a signal. The bitterness you hold lingers in your field. The love you cultivate radiates outward, touching others long before you speak. The universe is like a hall of mirrors, reflecting your broadcast back to you, amplified, multiplied, undeniable. This realization is both empowering and terrifying. Empowering, because it means you are not a victim of circumstance, you are a co-creator of reality. Terrifying, because it reveals that your own patterns, if left unchecked, are designing the very struggles you complain about. You cannot hide from your vibration. It will always return to you in the form of experience. What frequency are you living on? Are you vibrating in fear, attracting walls and obstacles? Or are you vibrating in love, inviting bridges and doors? The choice is not made once. It is made every moment, with every thought, every feeling, every breath. You do not raise your vibration by denying pain or pretending to be happy. You raise it by acknowledging, releasing, and then consciously choosing where to place your attention. Awareness is the switch. Attention is the current. And vibration is the song your field sings into the cosmos. So the violin and the guitar are not just instruments in a room. They are metaphors for you and the universe. Strike the right chord within yourself, and the universe cannot help but answer. But what happens when your vibration is not just about you, but about the collective? When your personal broadcast joins millions of others, shaping the fate of societies, even the planet itself. That is where our journey leads next. Because the power of your energy does not end at the edge of your skin, it ripples outward into the shared field of humanity. In the next chapter, we will step into the realm of collective responsibility, where your inner frequency becomes a force shaping the destiny of the world. Until now, we have spoken of your energy as if it were contained within you, shaping your private destiny. But the truth is far more expansive and far more sobering. Your aura is not a closed circuit. It is a ripple in an ocean that all of us share. Every vibration you send into the field does not stop at your skin. It travels outward, joining the great chorus of human energy. Picture a still pond at dawn. Toss a pebble into the water, and ripples expand outward, overlapping with ripples from other stones. Soon the surface becomes a tapestry of waves, each one blending, interfering, amplifying. This is the collective energy field of humanity. Your thoughts are the pebbles, your emotions are the ripples. Together, they create the ocean we call culture, society, even history itself. This is not poetic exaggeration. Consider what happens when fear grips a nation. One person's anxiety spreads to their family, from family to community, from community to media, until panic erupts across an entire country. The financial crash of 2008 was not caused only by numbers on screens. It was caused by collective fear. Millions of minds vibrating in scarcity, pulling down markets worldwide. Energy multiplied, became reality. And consider the opposite. When hope swells, movements are born. Think of the civil rights, marches, the fall of oppressive regimes, the surge of solidarity after disasters. These are not accidents of politics alone. They are eruptions of collective frequency, individuals aligning their inner fields into one resonant wave that reshaped the world. Every thought you plant does not only change you, it vibrates within the collective field. You have the power to lift Humanitor, to drag it down. Modern science offers glimpses of this truth. Studies at Princeton University's Global Consciousness Project have shown that random number generators around the world shift subtly during major global events, terrorist attacks, natural disasters, mass celebrations. Some interpret this as evidence that human consciousness itself creates measurable disturbances in physical systems. The data is debated, yes, but the suggestion is haunting. When billions focus on the same thought, the world itself trembles. The HeartMath Institute has found something similar. Their research on heart coherence shows that the electromagnetic field of the human heart can extend several feet beyond the body and may synchronize with those nearby. Groups practicing collective meditation have reported measurable reductions in local crime rates, as if harmony in one field resonated into harmony in the environment. Imagine what this means. Your calm is not yours alone. It can soothe strangers you will never meet. This knowledge brings not only wonder but responsibility. Because once you understand that your vibration contributes to the planetary field, you can no longer dismiss your anger, bitterness, or despair as private. The hatred you cultivate does not stay inside you, it radiates outward, feeding division. The compassion you nurture does not end with you, it ripples outward, feeding healing. Every choice of thought becomes a vote for the collective frequency of humanity. How many wars began with fear amplified into hatred? How many genocides were fueled by collective anger hardened into ideology? And yet, how many revolutions of kindness began with simple acts of empathy, spreading through communities like fire? History is not written only in ink and blood. It is written in vibration, in the energy fields of billions of souls, colliding, merging, and resonating. And so we arrive at the heart of responsibility. Living consciously is not only for your own well-being, it is a contribution to the harmony of the whole. Your breath in meditation steadies more than your nervous system. Your practice of gratitude lifts more than your mood. Your choice to forgive shifts more than your relationships. Every act of awareness becomes an offering into the collective stream. You may feel small in the face of the world's chaos, but you are not powerless. You are a transmitter in the great web of humanity. You are broadcasting into the field, always. The only question is, what frequency are you adding to the song of the world? This is why the wisdom traditions of every culture insisted on personal responsibility. The Buddha spoke of right thought as the seed of right action. The Bible warns that, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Indigenous elders reminded their tribes that every prayer, every dance, every ritual was not just for the self, but for the tribe, for the land, for the generations yet to come. They understood what modern society has forgotten. Consciousness is collective. Will you add to the noise of fear and division, or will you tune yourself to the higher frequency of compassion, clarity, and love? This is not idealism. It is mechanics. Resonance is contagious. Your vibration multiplies, and multiplied vibrations shape the world. You are not only sculpting your life, you are sculpting the future of humanity. Your awareness is not a luxury, it is a duty. To live awake is to serve not only yourself, but the harmony of the planet. In the final chapter, we will step into the deepest mystery. How to make this responsibility a daily practice. How to master your energy. Not once, but as a lifelong path, so that every breath you take becomes a thread woven into the evolving story of the world. Every story we have shared so far leads here. The invisible force is real. The 7 layers are alive. Blockages shape your struggles. Rituals release your power. Vibration attracts your reality, and your field ripples into the collective. But knowledge alone is not enough. The final chapter is not a revelation, it is a responsibility.
To master your energy is not a trick to be learned overnight. It is not a weekend workshop, nor a secret ritual hidden in temples. It is a lifelong practice. Just as a musician tunes their instrument each day, just as a warrior sharpens their blade before battle, so must you tend to the currents of your energy daily. Mastery is not a single act, it is the rhythm of a lifetime.
You brush your teeth every morning, not because your mouth is permanently clean, but because hygiene requires consistency. Why should your energy be any different? You live in a field that records every thought, every fear, every desire. Without care, it clogs. With practice, it shines. Energy hygiene is the forgotten discipline of the modern world, and mastery is the promise of returning to it. The journey begins with the smallest of steps. Right now, as you listen, try this. Close your eyes and take a deep inhale through your nose. Count slowly to 4. Feel your lungs expand. Hold that breath for another count of 4, letting the silence settle within you. Then exhale gently through your mouth, counting to 6, releasing tension with the air. This is the 4 for 6 breath. Do it once, and you will feel calmer. Do it daily, and you begin to teach your field coherence. Now, add stillness. After a cycle of breath, pause in silence. Let 2 minutes pass. Notice the rise and fall of thoughts like clouds drifting across the sky. Do not chase them. Do not fight them. Simply watch. In those 2 minutes, you are practicing awareness. And awareness is the sword that cuts invisible chains. Meditation is not about escaping the world. It is about returning to it with clarity, no longer drowned in chaos. From there, build rituals into your day. Stretch your body, not only to strengthen muscles, but to move energy. Speak words of truth, not only to be heard, but to keep your throat chakra clear. Practice gratitude, not only for comfort, but because gratitude is a frequency that reshapes the field around you. These are the disciplines of mastery, not exotic, not distant, but available in each breath, each choice, each moment. And yet, mastery is not only personal. Remember, the collective. Each time you raise your vibration, you contribute to the harmony of humanity. Each time you clear your own field, you lighten the burden of the whole. To master energy is to take your place as both individual and participant in the great web of life. Your practice is a gift to yourself and a service to the world. The more you practice, the less you control. True mastery is not about domination. It is about alignment. You do not force the river to flow. You remove the stones and let it run. You do not command energy. Listen to it, harmonize with it, and allow it to guide you. The ego seeks control. The soul seeks flow. Mastery is learning the difference. Energy is not outside of you. Energy is you. And when you master it, you master reality itself. This is the promise of the path ahead. Not instant miracles, but a life transformed through practice, patience, and presence. Each day, you will stumble. Some days, you will forget. But mastery is not about perfection. It is about returning again and again to the breath, the silence, the awareness. Over time, the river clears. The aura brightens. The world responds. So let this chapter end not as a conclusion, but as an invitation. From this moment on, every inhale can be a step into alignment. Every exhale can be a release of weight you no longer need. Every thought can be a seed planted in the collective field. Every choice can be a declaration of what you are broadcasting into reality. The path is lifelong. The practice is daily. The transformation is inevitable if you choose it. And so, as the story closes, remember, you are not just living in energy. You are energy, and the power you seek has always been yours. In the darkness of history, they called it the soul. In science, they call it the electromagnetic field. In whispers of hidden traditions, it was known as magic. But for you, it has always been one thing: energy. Your life is not shaped only by grades, jobs, or external circumstances. It is shaped by the invisible frequency you carry into every room, every conversation, every decision. When your field is heavy, The world feels against you. When your field is clear, opportunities seem to arrive as if by fate. To the young, to the curious, to those searching for something beyond ordinary explanations. Remember this truth. Energy is not theory, it is practice. Each breath you take with awareness, each thought you choose with intention, each act of kindness you release into the world. These are not small, they are signals. And signals create reality. So live consciously. Guard your focus. Cultivate gratitude not as cliché, but as vibration. Learn to master your field, and you will master your path. Because energy equals magic, but only if you learn to use it.